Ezra Pound speaking, Radio Speeches of World War II. Number 16, March 15th, 1942. UK, B16. England. The enemy is das Leih Kapital. Your enemy is das Leih Kapital, international, wandering, lone capital. Your enemy is not Germany. Your enemy is money on loan. And it would be better for you to be infected with typhus and dysentery and Bright's disease than to be infected with this blindness which prevents you from understanding how you are undermined, how you are ruined. The big Jew is so bound up with this Leih Kapital that no one is able to unscramble that omelette. It would be better for you to retire to Derbyshire and defy New Jerusalem. Better for you to retire to Gloucester and find one spot that is England than to go on fighting for Jewry and ignoring the process. It is an outrage that any clean lad from the country, I suppose there are still a few English lads from the country, it is an outrage that any nice young man from the suburbs should be expected to die for Victor Sassoon. It is an outrage that any drunken footman's by-blow should be asked to die for Sassoon. As to your empire, it was not all of it won by clean fighting. But however you got it, you did for a time more or less justify keeping it on the ground that you exported good government, or better government than the natives would have had without England. You let in the Jew, and the Jew rotted your empire, and you yourselves out-Jewed the Jew. Your allies in your victimized holdings are the Bunya. You stand for nothing but usury, and above metal usury, you have built up bank usury, 60% against 30 and 40%, and by that you will not be saved. Corrupting the whole earth, you have lost yourselves to yourselves. And the big Jew has rotted every nation he has wormed into. A millstone. Well, an exceptionally good swimmer might conceivably be cast into the sea with a stone tied around his neck. He might perhaps untie it if he were a Scotchman. He would remember his jackknife before being thrown overboard. You seem to remember nothing. It were better you were infected with typhus. As to federal union or Junion, there is no question of race in Stright's proposition. It is as proposed a union of slaves under Jewry, offered by liars and abettors of these. You have stolen land from your late allies, and land slips from your control. The only conquests of Britain and Rosenfeld are conquests from their alleged allies. All right. Say that Franklin Delano swipes all South America. To what end? And ruin the United States of America while he is doing it. What's that to you? It is not England's salvation. Will you ever look at the story of empire? You are not even in the mercantile system. You are in a fake mercantile system, not even mercantile. It was for a time called mercantile, or the mercantilist system, and defined as considering the happiness of a nation to consist in the amount of money it owned. and its process to consist in stealing, welching, poaching, the greatest possible amount of same, that is, of money, from other nations. That defines the usury system, the only system Anglo-Saxons have known or used in our time, and it will not save you, nor will Judaized Russia, nor will the Kahal, the Jews' Central Committee of Bleeders. What is their system? Unvarying cheap goods sweated out of cheap labor, dung, dust hurled on the world conceived as sweatshop, to hell with the 8-hour day, down with abundance, dumping sweated goods dumped against any and every nation that pays a just price for labor. That is your ally, and in your past a trail of blood and of infamy. You bought Hessians to kill your own blood in America. You bought 'em from a stinking feudal overlord who was in the hands of the Rothschild. That is history. You stirred up the American savages against your own kin in America. But now Eden and Cripps have called in the Muscovite to burn and destroy all Eastern Europe and kill Finland for the sake of the stinking Jews' nickel mines. Your infamy is bound up with Judea. You cannot touch a sore or a shame in your empire, but you find a Mond, a Sassoon, or a goldsmith. You have no race left in your government. God knows it can be found still scattered in England. It must be found scattered in England, the white remnants of England. The white remnant of the races of England must be found, and find means to cohere, otherwise you might as well lie down in your graveyards. You have for years had cheap goods dumped in from Russia. Your alliance with Moscow will bring no relief to that wound. Your Jews have ruined your home manufacturers. Loans from the City of London, loans to the Orient, interest paid in cheap cotton goods, loans to the South American countries, interest paid in beef from the Argentine, and ruin of English grazing. The laws of durable government have been known from the days of King Wen. When empires go to rot, they go to rot for known reasons. The Times, Telegraph, Manchester, Guardian are there to conceal these reasons. Your press is an infamy, has been throughout our time. The laws of durable government have been known from the days of King Wen, and when the Roman Empire perished, it perished from the same follies that your kikes, your Rothschilds, Bites, Sipes, Schiffs, and goldsmiths have squirted into your veins. Cheap grain dumped from Egypt, ruin of the Italian farming, usury, and more usury. That is the answer. For 2 centuries, ever since the brute Cromwell brought 'em back into England, the kikes have sucked out your vitals. A mild penetration for 100 years they have bootlicked your nobility, and now where is your nobility? You had at least the semblance of control. You had, let us say, some influence with the lords of Judea, as long as they wanted your titles, as long as Levi Levenstein Lawson wanted to be addressed as Lord Burnham. You could turn the worst edge of their avarice, or rather you could turn it off, the upper or upper clauses, and turn it on to the peer, as you did without mercy. But when the same scroungers have moved over to New York City, how will you manage 'em? the same bloody-minded extortioners or their descendants, the same financial houses, the same Rothschilds who plotted with Sherman and Vandergould to kill the American nation, who betrayed the United States in the 60s, head office in London, agents in the US of America. Now the address is altered. Main office in Wall Street and Cohen in London. You send Willie over to spy on us. You send 5,000 pimps over to Washington and give special passports, diplomatic, to inveigle the United States into your plans to get cannon fodder from Idaho and from Iowa to weld your slave seller on Europe. And this time you get dumped into the ash can. You have even forgotten your Kipling. Pig Baldwin has forgotten his cousin. If his obscene and treacherous mind ever grasped the meaning of Rudyard's stories, let me recall one passage to the sow face. The Americans, wrote Rudyard, obligingly slaughtered each other in order that the Czechoslovaks might inherit Boston Common. Cross TV, tomorrow is your turn. Damn it all, you slaughtered the flower of England in the Boer War. Then in 1914, in the first 3 months, the best of you went out and got slaughtered. Been seen only too clearly, and your foul papers, the filth of your newsprints, has been subsidized to keep your minds off of it. A dirty bit of meat by the name of Gallant's has used your book trade to conceal it. You have almost no means of communication. When a Brooks Adams writes 5 volumes that would help you to see it, 6 copies reach England. You have lost the health of the mind. God knows how the scattered handful of Englishmen still in England can still speak one with another. I see no remedy in your Parliament. I don't mean as Parliament, I mean in the personnel. It is your problem. You do not now even elect your own Parliament. Whether with an election you could get anything save old dead meat, I do not know. During the last war, a few men had a glimmer of instinct on whatever formula they called it pacifism. Was it? All of them I ever met were pugnacious. Was it an instinct to save the butt end of the race by not fighting? Is it a mistake to combat Germans by force? Is there a race left in England? Has it any will left to survive? You can carry slaughter to Ireland. Will that save you? I doubt it. Nothing can save you save a purge. Nothing can save you save an affirmation that you are English. Poor Belisha is not. Isaacs is not. No Sassoon is an Englishman racially. No Rothschild is English. No Starkosh is English. No Roosevelt is English. No Baruch, Morgenthau, Cohen, Lehman, Warburg, Kuhn, Kahn, Baruch, Schiff, Seif, or Solomon was ever yet born Anglo-Saxon. And it is for this filth that you fight. It is for this filth that you have murdered your empire, and it is this filth that elects your politicians. You have lost your tradition. You have not even learned what Lord Byron told you. You are as even that foul rag the Times tells you, a little late in making a start. In the year 1942, Anno Domini, there is only one start you can make, and that is a start toward being England. a refusal to be a province of Israel and an outpost of Yankee Judea. Quando tutti saremo forti. End of number 16, England. Ezra Pound speaking, radio speeches of World War II.